Hi, folks. You're listening to the Bombcast. Today is Tuesday, and I'm Vinny Caravella, and most of you probably know already what's happened. We lost a dear friend and coworker last week. Ryan Davis passed away, and we've got Drew Scanlon, Alexis, Jeff, Matt, Brad, Alex on Skype, and Patrick on Skype, and we're all here to talk about our friend and coworker. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey. Hi.
And I'm sorry to anyone driving out there. I probably should have prefaced this with hey, heads up.
In case you haven't heard this.
Yeah.
Might want to pull over.
News to you.
Hey, I've got some bad news. Yeah.
So
hey,
sorry about that. And
start the podcast with, hey, you got a minute?
Yeah.
Or, are you home? Are you sitting down?
Hey, text me back. It's
kind of important. Yeah.
So it's been quite a week for all of us, and this podcast is probably going to be a big old mess. But
this is the most. We had to wire up additional microphones in this room.
Yeah, we got a lot.
It's a mess already.
Yeah.
It's wires everywhere.
So
I got you guys here today. Because Pilot Wings is out on the Virtual Console. You guys.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
Is that actually true?
Wii U Virtual Console Pilot Wings $7.99. Huh. A landmark moment for the eShop.
Finally coming of age.
That's right. And none of you can stop me. Mighty Switch Force is on sale. All right. NintendoLife.com reporting on the eShop lineup here. The Deer Hunting King. Oh, all these games are bad. All right. Pilot Wings, though. Pilot Wings.
Just the first one?
Just the first one, yeah.
Not 64?
Yeah. Regular ass fucking Pilot Wings.
The original and still best.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't Pilot Wings 64. That's for fucking sure. So I met Ryan,
Last week.
Last week, I got invited to a wedding. I was doing catering.
That was so awkward.
And, he just, I don't know. He said, like, look, there's this dude who's supposed to be at my wedding, never showed up. Can you just put this on real quick? And I was like, all right, whatever, man. It's better than serving ice cream cake. Wedding. So, no, it's, it was, fuck, man. When was it? He was, I think he may have been just out of high school or still kind of coming out. I was a handful of years older. And, we'd kind of met online as well as kind of locally around the music scene and stuff like that up in Petaluma. And, I was in the middle of quitting a band and very vindictively saying, I'm going to start another fucking band because fuck those guys. And, Ryan and he was friends with a guy named Ben at the time. And Ben had listened to enough rap music to be able to fake it pretty well. And Ryan knew how to use a computer pretty well and had fucked around and made some instrumental tracks and stuff. And we kind of ended up just starting a group from there.
What was it called?
The Suburban All-Stars.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah. And then, Alex got in on that at some point as well, But, I don't know. Then, those two guys were working for AT&T in San Francisco when I was working at GameSpot. And it was, it was still the first GameSpot office on Clement Street. And, because I had known those dudes and we were all, they were taking the bus in from Sonoma County every fucking day at 4 a.m. or whatever you have to do when you take a bus.
It smell real bad.
I don't know. I've never taken
I'm saying
a bus.
that's what you have to do when you take a bus. You have to smell real bad. And get really mad when people take your seat.
Right. So sometimes those guys would get off work and then just come hang out at the GameSpot office, and I would give them a ride home.
So what year is this around?
This would have been... Fuck, man.
Before 2000.
Yeah, GameSpot started in 96, so this would have been...
98?
Yeah, this would have been 98, 99.
What was life like back then?
We had a Blitz machine in the office. That was pretty good.
How
You
many,
guys are on Clement Street, right?
We're on Clement Street.
how many pork buns a week were you eating?
One time I ate like a dozen pork buns in one sitting and then spent the rest of the day lying under my desk.
There's a lot of pork buns on Clement Street.
Yeah. Clement Street is pork bun heaven.
Dim sum all the way. What streets were you between?
We were, whatever block that Burger King on Geary is on.
Third.
We were up around the corner
you said
there.
between second and third.
Yeah.
And the street smelled
Near
like
Giorgio's.
horse
Yeah,
poop.
on the corner. Yeah.
You hear the carriages.
That's right. You hear the carriages stomping around as we recorded videos of video games for no one.
Mailed
as
them
it
to
turns
people,
out.
yeah.
Little
He sat
boys
there
are
eating pork buns lit only by the gas lamps.
Yeah, more or less. So, at one point, Vince Brody, the founder, one of the founders of GameSpot, came to me and said, your fucking friends need to stop hanging out here all the time. Like, because we had arcade machines at that point, and they would just sit around. They would show up earlier and earlier. Like, got to a point where they were showing up at like 3:30 or something, and just like spending the rest of the day just fucking ensuring that no other work got done. So we ended up hiring them both. That's usually how that works out.
Strict process.
Yeah, exactly. I think that ended up there was a little ways between there where we had moved offices. We got bought by Ziff Davis and moved over to another office, and Ben came on to do previews, and Ryan came on to do customer support. Like he would do,
which he still
When he was
did
next
till the very end.
I guess so.
He was still doing customer support.
I guess that's around the time that I met you guys, right?
Yeah,
How long had you been in the Townsend building when I
don't know, probably not too long.
That was summer of 2000.
Yeah.
Brad was a newsie on the corner.
I was out
Every
there
week would give me a paper
selling
for a
papers
nickel.
for a nickel a piece, and
Hey, kid!
you guys took pity on me. I really needed a hot meal.
Oh, and you got a hot meal.
A lot more than that.
Scorching. I guess that all kind of came together around the same time. Yeah.
What do you know about this Diablo game, kid? Well, it's cheese shucks.
Tell us about Japanese RPGs.
So,
all right.
And Brad, you were an intern at the time?
I was doing freelance for like a year before that. I came in, like Joe Fielder and his then wife Lauren kind of got me in doing freelance, and then came out for the summer, and then almost didn't leave.
Right. Yeah. I think there was that moment of just like, we should not ruin people's lives by like getting them to not finish school.
Yeah. That was for the best.
So that ended up working out really well for like me and Ryan. If like you just don't start it, then it's like not a problem. But yeah, I don't know. There was, I think Joe Fielder instilled that in me of just like, let's not fucking destroy lives here by making sure that people don't finish college to work for this shambles ass video game industry. So it's like with those guys being up in the area, and eventually Ben was not in the picture anymore, and me and Ryan spent a whole lot of time together. I remember going up to his place for the first time, and he was in Santa Rosa in this fucked up, not a great place, but whatever, it was all right. And he was not 21 yet, so I had to take care of some business on that end, and sat around playing Toshinden for the PlayStation, or one of the sequels, I think it may have been, and then beating we found this is actually a really horrible thing we did. I think this is probably a bad. But I want to say that we told this at some point, but there was we were driving to the supermarket because that's where the beer lives, and there was a chair sitting out in front of the of a house that just had a fucking old ass computer, and it just said free computer. And it was like a 286. It wasn't even a 286. It was like, I don't know, 8088 or something. It was just some fucked up old ass thing. So we went like, yeah, free computer, awesome, great. Took it. Went about our business, got back to the house, like, okay, let's plug this thing in and see if it works. Plugged it in, it beeped, but didn't immediately do anything. And I mean, like, immediately do anything. So then we grabbed his roommate's baseball bat and just beat the shit out of it. And just smashed up this computer with a bat. No, whatever, that's
Santa Rosa right there.
Yeah, that's Santa Rosa right there. That's not Roseland, that's Santa Rosa. We ended up maybe urinating on a computer.
Okay.
spilling some beers on a computer, hosing down a computer.
Okay.
And then maybe we ended up putting said computer in the back of his car, driving it to where we got it, and throwing it out on the
with the free computer sign still on it?
No, the chair was gone. Like, they must have been so psyched. Like, this fucking computer is gone. That's great. Hopefully someone gets some use out of our free computer. We're such good people. Oh, God!
Hey, Dale, it's back.
You did get some use out of it.
We did get more use. I mean, whatever. It didn't, like I said, it beeped, but it didn't seem to actually do anything.
Those were the early days of pornography.
Yeah. Did not post. Get smashed. Them's the fucking rules.
Those were also, I think, the early days of your and Ryan's love affair with taking things out to yards and destroying them. Because I feel like he was a big proponent of the wanton destruction that kind of went on later on when you were living at the compound.
Yeah, that was years later, but yeah, absolutely. That was the start of it for sure. That ended up with like me and him and this guy Dave Toyster, who used to work here at GameSpot for a while, driving around with a TV looking for a quiet place to shoot it.
Hey, I don't know if you were successful or not.
It ended up being in the middle of the street near Ryan's mom's house.
Okay. I was going to say, if you've never shot a TV before,
it's
you're
so
missing
satisfying.
out. You're missing out.
It's so great.
One of the shames of CRT is kind of phasing out.
Yeah, exactly. Like, modern TVs are not fun to break. When I broke that fucking flat screen,
no joy.
No, there was no joy originally, but then when I turned it on and then immediately like took the remote control that was in my hand and just angrily started bashing the screen and cracking the screen more and more, it became like a cool art project.
Oh, interesting.
I did not urinate on that TV. Yet. I still have it. So yeah, once you smash up a computer with a man, you know a thing or two about him, and we were tight ever since, I'd say.
So Brad, you met him when you were doing freelance work or when you interned?
No, it was when I came out.
Okay.
Finally saw the true depths of the darkness that lived at GameSpot.
Oh, yeah. Like, everyone was just like, this happy-go-lucky video game website.
Right.
It was like, nah, this site is powered by malt fucking liquor, you animals.
Because, I mean, there were respectable people like Greg Kasavin working there at the time. But for
they were on the PC side.
I was going to say, for some reason, they elected to sit me in the little cube quadrant with you guys, like you and Ben and Ryan.
Well, you were covering console games. It was before the sides were merged.
Yes, we were doing console stuff.
And yeah.
But speaking of getting no work done, like I was spending most of my time rolling around, dying of laughter, because you guys were just probably the funniest people that I had ever hung out with to that day and since. It was a magical summer.
Were you an intern?
For a lot of reasons, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you get hazed? Did Ryan hate you immediately?
No.
Did that take a while?
but when I was rolling around in my head what I would talk about on this podcast, the Ryan hitting me story definitely was one of the first that came to mind. When was that? It might have been the year that I moved out here for good, which was 2003. It might have been the year after that. I think it was probably that year. It was his birthday. And we went to some bar in the Mission. I wish I could remember which one it was.
At this point, he had already moved down to San Francisco.
Yeah, he was.
Right?
He was living in the Richmond at that point, and he was fucking shithoused when I got there.
Wait a minute,
Ryan? What?
Hang on.
Are you?
We're
talking about Ryan Davis here.
Like approaching blackout drunk. Just people have been
all right.
People
still
have
not
been
ringing any bells.
Feeding him shots all
Keep
night.
spinning your yarn, Brad.
Are you on the right podcast?
And this is illustrative of his exuberance and his zest for stuff.
Yeah.
Is that I walk in the bar and I was wearing glasses that day or that night, and he was so excited to see me that he just like open-handed just smacked me across the face as hard as he could as a manner of greeting, and it sent my glasses flying behind the bar.
Oh, wow.
And thank God the bartender saw it and didn't step on them and retrieve them for me. But then he just kind of went on his merry way. But then the next day he actually called me hungover, clearly just in a horrible state, and apologized. He felt horrible about it. He as much of an air as he could put on of just being a jerk to everybody. He definitely had a soft inner core.
It's a pretty soft hand too when it slaps you.
Yeah,
across the
that's true. It was kind of it was sort of ladylike,
dainty, would you say?
supple.
Sure, that's how I would
The
describe
hands of a
Ryan's
man
hands.
who had played a lot of video games in his time.
and
giant
applied.
big bear paw.
Yeah.
He clocked me across the face so hard at his wedding while we were dancing. Like it was probably like right after he had given me that big kiss that that we put that photo I tweeted, and at some point he just clocked me and he caught me right in the temple, and I almost went down. And I was just seeing stars, and I was just. And I couldn't hate him. I couldn't hate him. I was just like, oh.
See, the slapping came and went. Really, like that. I'm surprised. That's a pretty early example of Ryan slapping a motherfucker.
Sort of a
but it was like,
proto-slap.
it seemed like it was him and Dave.
Yeah.
When
He hit Dave.
Oh yeah.
What?
Like they went back and forth.
Wow.
And then Dave hit me. It was like they had some slappy thing going on.
Yeah, like they had there was a whole thing when Dave came to town after they bought his site and brought him into this amazing family of websites, where they were hanging out all the time. I think Rory, that's probably like right around.
Yeah, I came in right after, I think like a month after Dave was hired, I believe.
Yeah,
I was in I've been freelancing for a while. I never knew Ryan before I moved out, but I moved out in I think September of 2004, right before the infamous 2004 holiday party.
The one at Fluid.
Yes.
Wait. No.
Yeah, that was at Fluid.
Are you sure? I think Fluid was 06. I'm pretty sure because that was the last big one.
You mean
the last one was the day or the week after the Japanese PSP launch, because I had just gotten off a plane and went to that party and said, "Oh, I'm not gonna really have much to drink because it's like I'm so fucking tired." And then I was like, "Well, maybe I'll have a Red Bull and vodka." And then I believe that was the year, Alex, that I spent throwing up out of your window all the way across the Golden Bridge, right?
Oh my! Yes, I remember this vividly. Yes,
I think that was the Sake Lab holiday party, which was equally infamous for different reasons.
Yeah.
We had a lot of infamous parties.
They eventually stopped letting GameSpot have their own separate holiday parties
with cause.
With cause, yeah. And I want to say that maybe at some point they were like, "There's no money in this internet thing anymore, so you need to." I think it was right around the time that the big company holiday party went from like being at City Hall to being inside the building. When it was at City Hall, I remember I didn't go because I don't know why. I don't go to holiday parties. I kind of never have. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know. Now that I say it out loud, that's maybe a little strange, but they had it at City Hall, and I remember hearing that like Ryan and Trevor Rivers had like just said, "Fuck it, we're gonna sneak around City Hall." And
I heard that story too. Yeah, and like they jumped the ropes basically.
Yeah. They were trying to keep people in this one area to be safe, and then I believe that they just said, "Fuck it." And Trevor's lady, I remember being pretty angry.
I think they got like all the way to the top of the building, if I remember.
Yeah,
like they got all the way to the top floor or something. That was really the beginning of like what I think of as sort of like the golden era of GameSpot.
Willie Brown era City Hall. When was this?
Yeah, he might have been
early Gavin Newsom.
Well, that was before I got here. Okay. That was like .com bubble. Like you got to be in a bubble to be able to rent City Hall out for your holiday party.
Golden era of GameSpot.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have
you came in and Dave, and then there were all these other people that we clicked with really well,
like
Carrie and Bob, and just like and
Avery, obviously.
Oh yeah, sure. And then, but the main thing is that was when we started closing down Steph's like 3 to 4 nights a week.
Oh yeah. Nina was always there. I was the only time I've never been kicked out of a bar. The only time I ever got cut off at a bar was Nina.
And Ryan was like at the center of that. Like he was one of the anchors of that horrible lifestyle. That was when he taught me how to drink whiskey properly.
Yeah.
See, that was the gift and the curse of living in the suburbs is that like he and I never had a slapping relationship,
right?
And I don't know how to drink bourbon.
Yeah. It was a fun time. It was horribly ruinous to your health, but it was
I think that was the time when I was living up in the middle of nowhere and really getting into breaking stuff.
Like Katati days.
Yeah, like professionally breaking shit.
the bike.
That was the guard bike. Yeah. There's a picture that Chris, a friend of ours, posted of Ryan just standing menacingly. We had this T-ball bat, this metal T-ball bat that we used to break stuff. Because, of course.
You can't use a wooden bat for that.
No. We used a wooden bat to break up that computer, and it was his roommate's. His roommate was fucking pissed because we fucked that bat up. He was super fucking unhappy with us. And I get it. And that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
like you shouldn't do that.
Metal bats sound better too.
Oh yeah, totally.
You get that ting.
Yeah,
Ding.
And so this bat had just been compressed and just so dented from just.
Just imagine like something straight out of a fucking awful bashing people in the head game.
I have it hanging in my garage right now. I bought another one that is pristine and has not been used, so I have like a before and after with these bats. And we had the guard bike. We had a broken ass bike that we found on the property, or it was out in the gutter or something, out on the main road. We said, well, this looks broken. We should probably bring it in here, and then beat it with this bat for a while.
I saw that picture making the rounds yesterday.
Yeah,
he's got sunglasses on and a headband.
Menacing, standing over this bike after having done his dark business. That is one of my favorite pictures of Ryan. I think I said it yesterday, but that is the most photogenic motherfucker I have ever known. Like, holy shit! Ever since,
very expressive.
Ever since the fucking day I met him, just seemingly cannot take a bad picture. It's like, how the fuck does this happen? You asshole! What a dick! All my pictures are terrible.
I have like 2 in my entire life that I like.
Yeah, that one's looking all right. What's this angle? I got to figure this out.
Sure. And when he took a bad picture, it was on purpose, right? It was that. Yeah. It was that creepy eye flutter thing that he does, and just oh god, how does he do that?
I don't know.
How does he control his eyes?
Double jointed in his eyeballs.
Oh god, we were looking at those videos yesterday. Yeah. And there was that 1 30-second thing. It was just creeped me out so badly.
I was trying to write up something, and still am, and maybe I'll put it up later. But I mentioned in there my idea of Ryan, when I really try to boil down Ryan Davis as an essence, just kind of like fully formed out of like a vaudevillian trunk, just like popped out, and it's just ready to entertain. Just like hello, and just spawned out of the ether, like the coalescing of like entertainment and like. Let's go, showbiz.
So Rory and I were at a bar last night, kind of drowned sorrows with some of the Idle Thumbs guys. And what was the question? You were like, if Ryan were an old man, what would he be doing?
Oh yeah, if Ryan was lived to be 80, what would he be doing?
My response was circus ringmaster.
I said train conductor. I think because it was
train
on
conductor
TV.
be good.
I just like. Big old guy with a big old cap and a big old mustache, big old gray mustache.
But like like he'd work at Train Town.
Like really kind of good with kids, but always maybe a little weird.
Like, I don't know about this guy, but he runs the train place, and my kid wants to see the fucking trains.
Here we are. Go fast.
We're gonna go on the trains.
You see, I think he would be the kind of person that would be referred to in the neighborhood as local weirdo. Yeah. Like just the strange old man who is just cantankerous, but also like you said, like ran fucking Train Town or fucking ran a candy store.
Sold
somewhere.
fireworks.
Yeah, sold fireworks. You just see like all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, he was out and he was just wearing a towel. I don't know.
but then when maybe your baseball made it into his yard, he you're weird. You go up and you're shy and you knock, and then he invites you in for a bourbon, just sit and talk to you for a bit.
We tell you about life, kid.
Do you want to watch Roger Rabbit on Laserdisc?
Is that code?
He was wearing a robe. It was weird.
That man wore a robe.
Yeah,
he did.
He knew how to lounge for sure.
Yeah.
He was a man of leisure.
Absolutely.
It seemed like he was less like living life and just being amused by it. Like he just kind of life was happening and it was there to entertain him.
And sometimes it would be things that he had set up, and now he is just can kind of sit back, and that was like the E3 shows, a lot of that stuff. Like he booked all the guests for that because I'm terrible with people. And he just, he was able to just bring all those people together and just,
watch chaos unfold.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of, know when to kind of sit back and just let these things happen. And that's a really hard thing to know when to do, like in an on-camera role or whatever. Just like, okay, when to put the focus back on you, when to very deliberately step out.
I think that's why I liked getting involved in booking some of that stuff with him the last couple of years, because then I started deliberately booking people that I thought would just kind of throw him off his game, but would be interesting anyway. And then he also found good ways to pair that, like the Genova Chen Dan Reichert combination is by far one of my favorite things that I've coordinated with him, because it both didn't work and completely worked at the same time. And there was no one else in the world that could have handled that with the deft touch that Ryan did, because he somehow managed to, not completely crack up at machine gunless as a term, and also allowed Genova Chen to tell horrible dating stories while Dan Reichert made fun of people that went on dates.
Yeah. Natural common ground.
Yeah.
That's been, seeing the a lot of people have had a lot to say over the past day or so here, and that's he was really great at just providing that common ground for people and really bringing people together. I mean, it's funny because when we started the site, that was one of the things, maybe not bringing people together, but it was very much we want to get people that make games and people that want to talk about games and have interesting stories and kind of let that stuff happen. And I think he really found that and was able to actually make that happen. Whereas I just said it a bunch and that was about it. Yeah. He was really good with that shit.
Vinny, where'd you come into the picture?
I came in. I started 2006, I think. Yeah.
It was 6.
Right on the downslide.
You were the first person through the door that we were like, oh shit,
fuck, we should get out of here.
Yeah.
06 was the year that everybody started leaving.
06 was it was that last E3. Was it E3 06 or E3 05 was the.
I really
the Vince was here.
It was the last big
What was
E3.
Greg's last year?
Oh, he was here
for E3.
He left at the end of 06, I believe.
Yeah.
Beginning of 07 is when he was.
Okay,
06 was his last E3.
It felt like
that was when Bob went to Blizzard and Kerry took off, and then Vince left.
That was yeah.
It was when I came in. I felt like I came in. Well, I'd been a fan of the site, so I kind of knew about you guys. Watched On the Spot a lot, and I think it felt like when I came in, everything was super good. And then immediately, within months, started turning bad.
Yeah.
Man, I got to work with Rich immediately, which was really fun. And I think, Matt, the first thing I did was that...
Boss of Boston.
No, that was later on. No, it was that
the Reading Rainbow thing?
Yeah, the Reading...
Oh, God.
Yeah. What is it? Hey, kids, you like good art? Or
Hey, kids, do you like cool art?
You don't even remember the line?
It's been so long. It was Rich Gallup wrote that script, I think, right? Or
I went to go film that event for I Am 8-Bit, and then, the tape got eaten up back when we used to use tapes. And that was my first gig, and, I was like... Oh my God! Mr. Gallup, the tape done got eaten, and and he was like, don't worry, it probably sucked anyway. I've got an idea. I've got this red velvet, and then it was like, here, do this, and I was like, oh, okay, and that kind of set the tone for what quickly happened. But the thing I remember most early on was that it was because that must have been I think around May, because it was immediately E3, and then immediately after that was the E3 swag giveaway, which was with Jeff, you and Ryan did, and Carrie did, and I think that was the first time I realized what I was dealing with in terms of talent. It was basically you, Carrie set it up. And I tossed it over to you guys, and the premise was, QVC or, kind of shopping channel, late night shopping.
I do remember this.
And then it was basically, I think there was an hour of footage. Everything was just laid out on a table.
Yeah.
And then you and Ryan just picking up shit and talking about it for an hour.
That would be below stupid. I remember it so well.
So it's not even QVC. It's just straight up knife show.
Straight
up Cutlery Corner. Fucking Tom Odell and Todd Boone.
Right, and you did that voice for so long.
And now they have a woman on the show.
You could barely talk for a day afterwards.
Yeah, I was fucking yelling that whole time as we just went through all that stuff.
That's what the third floor was like back then, though. You'd walk around and you'd hear people just... Fucking, it's sometimes being around Quick Looks when you guys are just you hear it from across the floor, just somebody screaming their head off.
Well, that's the weird thing about that time is, it really was, it was starting to become two game spots in a lot of ways. There was very much the side, there was the portion of us that were very much dude, fuck this, let's do this weird on camera shit. And then there were people that were this is not what this website is, very adamantly.
would have been happy
against
to have
some of
no
that stuff.
names.
Well, yeah,
even,
exactly.
like,
yes,
some people put staff up for all their stories.
It's like the old guard, the old way of doing things.
When everybody's like 22.
Yeah, but like I'm that. I was there
no, but
before all the people.
I mean,
that
philosophically,
were, yeah, sure,
like
sure.
they were doing it the way that everybody had always done it. Like nobody raised their voices on a video game site before that.
Yeah, it was
nobody
hard to
yelled
even,
about anything.
It was hard to even convince people that starting a podcast was a good idea. I mean, Bob was doing the hotspot as a text feature that was like this weird side thing of like, here's 7 trends this week. It was just like the dumbest fucking thing. But it just looked like an Entertainment Weekly sidebar blown up into a full page.
Yeah. No offense, Bob.
No. I mean, whatever. He was
doing what he told.
Yeah, exactly. In the environment he was working in, he did what he could. And then we ended up kind of just piggybacking the podcast onto that thing and just like, well, what if we talked about these 7 things? And kind of just some point just started doing it without telling anyone. And that was how, I mean, whatever. That's how Boss of Bosses happened. That's how
that's when Rich Gallup was on vacation, I think, and so is Andrew Park was on vacation, I think.
Yeah,
and just kind of we slipped one under the radar.
So I think someone had already said like, "No way, you're doing that," and
we just kind of went. And Vinny, holy shit, that was like what an 80-hour.
I don't even remember how Boss of Bosses happened.
Too much, right?
Well, because it was right on the transition. Maybe it's just too much technical stuff, but it was right on that transition from SD to HD, right? Mm-hmm. So they wanted to do it in HD, but there were like 2 HD machines on the entire floor, which were also being used for that Voom deal at the time.
God, that was a shit show when we had to like balance the use of that stuff.
Christ.
And so like I had to sneak on to do stuff in HD when other people weren't doing stuff that was for the Voom contract, and like just trying to record that stuff in the office, which was actually fun. But it was,
and then they came back. It was like you took a whole week to do it. It was like 80 hours to cut that thing together, and then we come back and they were like,
"Right,
can we do 4 of these a month?" It was like, yeah, we want a show
because you also needed to in between all the bits was you actually beating doing the strategy stuff, which also took time.
Doing my low deep voice. Oh man,
group
right in that studio behind you. I remember sitting there
just for hours, just kind of like spitballing random stupid stuff. It's still live somewhere in the bowels of GameSpot.
But I mean so it ended up being this case of like there was one side that was way more interesting and exciting, and then there was one side that like we were rapidly becoming disenfranchised with, and this was around the time that we started doing like time trotters and stuff like that, where Rich was just like, let's just make a cartoon. Like what? Like all right. So I don't know if we ever asked or if we just started doing it. But Rich did most of the writing at that point. I think we may have looked over some of that stuff, but yeah, we put all that together, and then Ryan and I became the stars of this fucking cartoon that Ben Coelho animated or did the drawing for, and then eventually animated and that stuff. That was actually the same type deal as we did. One of them it was like live action, and then one of them that was a cartoon. And then, by that point, so much time had passed. I think, Greg was already gone at that point. And they're like, well, if we can do like 12 of them and gang produce them and do all this stuff, then we could do it. Otherwise, it's like basically like, stop me if you've heard this before, but someone came in and set unrealistic goals as a way to make something fail. So we ended up, like getting through. We ended up putting up like that Lost episode not too long ago. That's on, though both those are on Giant Bomb now.
The Time Trotters HQ sticker, somebody tried to peel it off, but it is still on that utility closet, whatever is it, that storage room in there.
Yeah. And that was just, I don't know, that was so cool. Like me and Ryan in cartoon form and, just kind of going for it. And it was just, it was something that like, no game site would do that because, because it was fucking crazy. Like you shouldn't do that if you're running a video game site, but like that was the stuff that was entertaining. And I think like once we had started down that road with On the Spot, and then Rich left, and On the Spot kind of became and Carrie was gone at that point too, and it was primarily I guess me and Ryan, right?
Ryan became standing set guy.
Yeah.
He was like
I was sitting set guy, he was standing set guy, and it was
weird because I don't know if he loved standing or not. But
yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't his favorite.
I don't know. Standing's all right. I'm kind of into it sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, and I think as time went on, it's I think Alex, as the other kind of anchor for the reviews team, would say at some point we were all kind of fucking done. I remember having conversations in the car with Alex along 07 along the lines of, I don't think I can do this anymore, man, and me going, but who will I commute with?
It got weird.
Ryan was still in the city at that point.
Yeah,
right?
he was still living in San Francisco. Yeah,
it got weird for me when it went from like doing the on the spot stuff, and then it had to be time breaks and stuff.
Right
when that stuff started happening, and it was like, okay, we're gonna try and be TV, and like we're gonna keep each segment down to like 5 minutes, and like the runtime stuff. And
like it ended up being like the real tragedy of like there was finally enough attention being paid to video that we kind of could have done a lot of really cool stuff. But the goal, like they were chasing after this television goal of like, well, on the spot needs to be 22, a broadcast hour, like 48 minutes or whatever it was, 44. And it just sucked all the air out of that show. Like the whole point of it was that like, these segments should be as long as they need to be because all games are different, because all things are different.
And it's the internet. You don't have to worry about.
And also it's the internet, yeah. But at the time, I still, we had done some television at that point. Like I co-hosted Attack of the Show for a week, and then me, Ryan, Greg, Ryan McDonald. No, Ryan McDonald. No, he was there, but I don't think he wasn't actually on the show. Bethany and Carrie went down and shot a week of a show called Cinematech that G4 did. And this was like a really weird. Like they came to us saying like, "Hey, we want to do like a partner thing." Where you kind of put together a week of shows, and the show was primarily just clips. So I think they were expecting us to just come back with like, here's a list of games, go ahead, and like come up with a theme. But instead, we wrote a bunch of on-camera segments, and I was like, fuck it, we're going to be on TV. Fuck this. So Ryan and I ended up writing, I think, 3 of those. There was 5 episodes. Carrie and Bethany wrote 1. I think Greg wrote 1. And I think we wrote the rest, which meant that the rest did not get done until the day before shooting started. Or we had overwritten them. We wrote a bunch of stuff, and then I think they came back and said, "This is way too much, and this is all too long." So it was like the night before the shoot, like in this hotel room in Santa Monica, just frantically, the 2 of us just trying to cut these scripts down.
You shot them all in one day?
Yeah, we shot everything in one day because we just had to shoot like the host like wraparounds and stuff.
Sure.
There's a great shot, I should find it, of like Ryan in like beat up like bruised face makeup, like he had the shit beat out of him. I forget what the actual joke was now. Like the only episode of that I have now is the one that Carrie and Bethany did. I don't know where the rest of them went, but like we wrote a bunch of dumb infomercial shit. Like it was kind of like classic us, like the 2 of us faced with like writing this thing. It was like, all right, well, we're just going to like do a bunch of dumb kind of pseudo TV stuff. And that was awesome. That was actually that was my 30th birthday. We were down in LA shooting some of that stuff.
Well, I will say that trying to do the on-the-spot stuff in that really regimented, segmented way, it was a really good learning experience in terms of like what does work and what doesn't work, and like trying to cram something into a format that should never be crammed into it, and really kind of informed, I think, a lot of how we went forward doing stuff when we were given free reign. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, that's it's the funny thing because there was some segment of people that were very much like, oh, fuck GameSpot. As soon as we started Giant Bomb, and I get it. But at the same time, like all we really did is take the stuff we did at GameSpot and say, no one is going to tell us what to do with this ever again.
Or nobody was.
I mean, someone could have tried.
The very fortunate thing was that those guys were not telling us.
Right. That ended up being like I think the big early test for us was that fucking 2 Human video.
Yep.
We did that. And everyone, Shelby, everybody upstairs, the whole the Whiskey Media LLC people were gone because they'd spent summers on Shelby's ranch, or coding or whatever it is they did, plugging up toilets with Kuntz.
Retreat.
And left us to our own devices.
Right.
And you guys, we were all there.
We were there.
It was before Drew, right?
It was just the 4 of us in that basement.
And like that Too Human stuff happened. And I remember just coming in and going like, we should do this.
Like
it was such a
that day felt like the most amazing proof of concept of like shit's going on out there. Come in, have an idea, like conceive it, execute it, post it. Like in the space of like 3 hours,
and it was just this fucked up thing that was barely about game. I remember like putting that up and going like, we may get a call from these guys saying like the deal's off. Like, you guys need to pack up.
I know I'm probably misremembering this, and because my memory is terrible, but like when I think back to it, it is all of us hovering around my computer.
Oh yeah,
and my finger
laughing.
over my mouse and finger over the like publish button.
Should we post it or not?
Do we do this?
There was already conversations about like we should bleep all this, right?
Right.
It was like no,
it was full of swearing. You were threatening multiple people's lives.
Fucking music.
There was Ice Cube music in there,
and then definitely being like, well, should we do it? And you're like, yeah, do it. And just like click, and then just being like, all right, it's out. I can't take it down.
This happened. I guess.
And then just waiting for a call to come back to be like,
yeah.
What the fuck are you guys doing down there? Don't come back to the office.
Oh man, he did such a great job of playing a hype man in that thing. Just the like without a word, just like shaking his head when you were talking shit about people and doing the hand signals and stuff. Like
you were fucking wearing that bandana and cracking up.
Thank God I had that shirt wrapped around my face. Like I thought it was a funny sight gag or whatever, but yeah, also served the purpose of hiding my laughter because I was just dying the whole time.
Yeah,
that was a great video. That was fun.
Yeah, he was. That was.
He was good at playing parts.
Yeah,
he was good at just jumping in and doing
one of those like points of confidence that neither of us. I mean, whatever. There's enough old video of all of us out there that I think you can look at that and go like, it wasn't always the way it is now.
I don't know what you're talking about,
except for me. But it was one of those things I think on the spot, and especially the way everything broke every week. What are
you talking about?
This is before you came on, man. It was a mess. And then you showed up, and
that's why. It turns out that's why they brought you in. Actually, you were the fixer.
No, it was like every week there'd be a tape segment that didn't play. Every week there'd be like you hit play on something, it was something else, and so it was just like Frank or somebody's going like, you need to stretch. This shit's not ready yet. And
let's check out from the field, and then the camera just sits on you for another 1 minute.
Right. Yeah, and like that's something that. I think Rich got, being that he was the main host, got good at it before either of us did. But you got to that point where you needed to be able to know, like, you need to have something at a fucking moment's notice. Like, they're going to come to you, and you need to be ready to start talking. It doesn't matter about what, but you can't have dead fucking air. Just be ready to go. And Ryan picked that up super well. And it was, I mean, whatever. Like we are poor planners. Very much of this website has been run on the notion of point the camera at this thing and we'll figure it out. And I think that's worked. It's worked because, it's like, Ryan, I think all of us now are up for that sort of thing on that end of the camera. And then there's the trust with you guys, and you kind of know where we're going, and we kind of know what you're looking for. And I think it works out really well on that.
I was telling Alexis before, I was trying to describe that kind of same sentiment, and kind of watching you and Ryan work together. It's kind of like watching, this is going to sound weird, but it's like watching two pros just go at it, right? Kind of like two old hands, just kind of like almost like a trapeze act, right? You guys know your timing, you know when somebody's going to be in the air, when to catch them, when to bounce it back, throw it back. And I feel like, Brad, you can probably relate to this too. Kind of like stumbling into that and being like, coming on the podcast and like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I don't know when to jump or when to go. But I feel like every time I fell, it was, Ryan was there to grab you, and he'd make sure the show didn't end. It was going to be funny. Don't worry, this big sweaty tattooed arm would pull you up and be like, I'm not going to let this not be funny. Like, if it's not funny, I'm going to call it out, and then it'll be funny. And that's what, for me personally, allowed me to really just keep going. It was just like the confidence that, like, you can sit in this room and don't worry about it. Like, you're sitting with these two pros. They're not going to fuck it up. Like, if you fuck it up, I'll call you out on it. It's still going to be funny. And then just kind of sitting back and trying to learn as much as I could, really. I mean, it's been an amazing experience. Like, he's masterful. his craft was. I mean, really
laid it on a little thick there, Vinny. No, I'm joking.
I'm serious.
No, he was one of the best I've ever seen at doing that kind of
so sharp, so fast.
That wit was it could cut you like a razor blade.
Yeah, and it really was like I said before, he was a showman, right? So he loved a good show, and it was really funny to sit and watch somebody just enjoy that craft. Like watching him prep for, we talked a little bit about this, Jeff. Watching him prep for PAX panels or kind of like any big show is when he'd kind of get nervous. You know, he wanted a good show, right?
Yeah, and that's natural, I think, because like those PAX panels or like Dave's wedding, those are things you don't get back. You know, those are things that like, but you know, a quick look or whatever, or a live show here, we'll do another one of those. Right. You know, it's not the end all be all, but that was very much. The only times I ever saw him nervous was when we knew.
That's right. He was super nervous at Dave's wedding, wasn't he?
Yeah, and his own.
Well, everybody's nervous at their own wedding, but
I think the nerves were coming from the same place they were at Dave's wedding. Sure. Are very much like, I just don't want to fuck this up. Yeah. And I was just like, because at some point, we were up in the like sweltering hot groom's suite or whatever you want to call it, and he was just like, I just need you guys to get me down that aisle, and everything will be, and I'm just like, dude, it's like you've been with this girl for like a decade, and he's like, no, not even whatever, no, we'll get married, like, yes, obviously we'll get married, like, I don't want to get down there and then like fuck up his vows, or it's like stuff that you don't get back, right? Like that. Sure. Those were the things that was like that's a fucking horrible sports, but that was like, it was like game day. It was like, all right, this is when it actually fucking matters. Yeah. Like, you bring it most of the way on a week in, week out basis, but there's this stuff that you're not going to get back, and the E3 shows and stuff like that. That's why it's like when that shit got stolen, that was a Ryan that I rarely saw. Was the like sitting outside and just staring off, going fuck. And I hadn't seen it in about a year. Like when the venue from last year was a train wreck. I remember we went to that pizza place, and he was just like it was his birthday, and he's just sitting there, just going. And I was like, like me, I was like, whatever, it can't be that bad. Like we'll make it work. Like I've always trusted all of us to be able to make it work.
The trust has been huge for me, and it's really I think allowed a lot of us to do what we do, especially from Ryan. Like just knowing that I just always felt more comfortable when he was on set, when he was around. That it's just he's going to be there to make sure that like he's going to be the one to clap his hands and be like, we're done, that's it, we're done, show's over, and be like, yeah, that you're right, it should be over, or just kind of like you've said, make you feel like a really funny guy. Like the shit I was throwing up was not that funny, but I just kept feeding it to Ryan to see what he would say, and let him roll with it. And he just, the body of knowledge, it was just weird. It was uncanny, like the references that he would be able to pull out.
I mean, he stayed current. I didn't. At some point, I stopped watching movies and television shows and stuff, and it's
it's all that AV Club.
It shows. Yeah, exactly. Reading all that fucking. He's not actually watching it. He's just cliff notes in it.
Right. Just taking notes. Who knew?
Shit.
So Drew, when you walked in, let's get your perspective.
Folding up T-shirts with our faces on them.
Yeah. I mean, it was real tough for me to break into what was very obviously a very close-knit group of guys. But I mean, Ryan made that so much easier because he's just so good at making you feel welcome, and that any idea you want to try will probably work. Especially if it's with Ryan, because he's just so good at off the cuff stuff that you can just say like, I'm thinking kind of like this, and then he'll totally get it and roll with it and make a make a good piece of content out of it.
I can't think of too many times he just flat out said no. Like, no, And I feel like that does come back down to, hopefully we didn't pitch too much stuff that was that dumb. I mean, it does come back to that trust thing. But usually it was like, hey, Ryan, I need you to kind of stand on your head and make this face. Okay, don't worry about it. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But just wear this tiny sombrero. Just put it on your head. It's good. Okay.
Sure.
The thing I was going to say about what you said about him always being ready to put on a show or whatever is that he was the only guy here, like no offense to any of you other guys, but he was the one guy that I could always count on 100% of the time to ride shotgun on like a quick look or something if I needed him to. Like, said, hey, you want to be on this quick look with me? Just immediate yes. Like,
and to be jazzed about it.
Right. It was like,
or to feign it.
It was kind of like a gift of gab kind of thing of just like he was always ready to be entertaining about whatever was in front of him, even if he didn't personally care about it. Like he still put all his effort into talking in an entertaining, like, you know, he didn't have that fear, you know,
horribly mocking it if you didn't like it.
Of being in front of him.
Unprepared or anything
right,
like that.
Right. Whereas I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I still every day worry about, you know, and it's like, oh, I'm not being interesting enough or not cracking enough jokes or whatever. Like he would just throw himself into that stuff without reservation every time.
His thing always was just put it out there. Doesn't matter, you know, like what it is. You know, it doesn't matter if you know that much about this game. Like just, you know, get the gist of it and just talk. Just have a conversation. You know, just put as much out there as you can. Even if the bits don't work, just try it. And that was something that I was always very nervous about. Like I've never been comfortable just kind of like putting anything out there, just trying anything and just seeing if it works, because I'm always like kind of, you know, afraid of like, well, if this doesn't hit, it's gonna suck. He never had that fear. He never had that fear of this is gonna suck. It was always just like, well, whatever, if it sucks, we'll do something else. And that's, you know, that someone who is super dedicated and super good at just making that work is a rare thing.
And he'd commit to it. You know?
Yeah.
Like he really like. I constantly pull back on a lot of stuff. Like there's always that internal struggle of just like, is this going to be the thing that goes too far? Like yes, no, and I overthink a lot of stuff throughout my entire life. And he got to a point where he was just across it, and he was just, even if he wasn't actually comfortable, you would never know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's, you know, he'll lick the side of someone's face. He'll, you know, like just
drink breast milk.
Go, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, yes. Yeah, he will just drink breast milk. You know, yeah. I don't know what I would have done. I don't know. I may have done that.
Sure.
That would have been worth it.
Again, he needed to,
but
showman.
He was way faster on it. Like he was way more willing to just immediately just say, "Yep, this is going to be the thing that is the dumbest. What's the dumbest possible thing we could be doing at any given moment?"
You know, part of it's the reason why I think, you know, I never strangled a dude, because he was ready to go. I knew when the cameras were on and I hit the live button, he was ready to go. Like getting him there might have been tough.
Yeah.
You know, or corralling him or whatever, but like he could get away with it. And like I really do think he was, you know, I filmed a lot of people in the video game industry, and I really think he was some of the best at what people are doing for what we were going for. He nailed it, and it's a reason I was able to work with him, and the reason why nothing ever really came to blows, because like really was like once you sat him down, put that mic on, he didn't even know what was happening. And you'd be like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to talk about whatever. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Here's a guy you've never met or talked to before. Make interesting content with them.
Yeah.
Like those PAX 10 interviews. Patrick, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think one of my favorite moments with him with that was I had played Hotline Miami, and I knew, like 5 minutes into it, I was like, it's like someone made a love letter to Ryan in a video game, and I walked over to him and was just said, I don't want to tell you anything about this game. Just go sit in the room. It'll all be fine. And if you watch the beginning of that quick look, just the way he melts and just like enjoyed that experience, like it was magical to do that with him, because like Brad said, like you could, like, especially when you knew something that was going to speak to his tastes, like the way he would respond to that stuff was just unlike anything else.
Yeah.
And the other side of that too was that he was incredibly good about getting people to love the things that he loved. Like, that dude could turn an audience to anything with his enthusiasm for it. Like, it didn't matter how dumb, how weird, how fucking out there it was. Like, as soon as he gave something like this is awesome, like, thumbs up, you know, you kind of bought into it, even if you didn't think you would initially.
It ended up being frustrating. You know, he hadn't really done a lot of writing over the last couple of years. And, you know, we talked about it, and he was just like, you know, because, you know, GameSpot, like, whatever, it was a review factory. It was just like, this was your whole job. You know, you just show up, play the game, get the game review out.
Remember how many anime games he reviewed?
Yeah, exactly. He was
that's
the anime.
Secret.
He was the original.
He was the secret
anime
true
editor.
anime editor.
But, you know, like, he was, you know, once he had kind of fallen out of the habit, once we had gotten away from that, it was very hard for him to kind of turn it back on. And it always really bummed me out, because I always felt that he was a much more persuasive and just overall better writer than I am.
He was a terrific writer. I mean, early on when I was kind of learning how to do this at all, you know, because I mean, when you guys hired me, I was 21. You know, I had never really written anywhere professionally.
And you came into tech support position first too, right? Yeah.
Well, I started as an intern on game rankings for like 2 weeks.
Nice.
And then that was while I was interviewing for the assistant editor job, which was half, you know, just do whatever dumb reviews Jeff has left over, and also half just do technical support. So that was me taking over for Ryan on that.
Right.
But when I was learning how to do it, you know, I had no real training or understanding of like how to write a good review.
You mean you didn't take the video game writers track at Northwestern like everyone else did?
Everything I knew was from Glenn Rubenstein, just making my shit readable back when I was freelancing for him. So when I was looking for, you know, people to kind of learn from, I usually sort of defaulted to him, because the stuff he wrote always sounded really natural and conversational, like he was actually talking to a person and not just, you know, running down a list of features, which is what a lot of game reviews were at that point.
Still are.
And I was stiff for a long time, but once I kind of started to understand that conversational tone and actually learn to, you know, kind of sort of talk to the audience like they were, you know, people, and like they were having a real experience, like that I got that from him. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You really knew how to turn a phrase in his reviews.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
like a few things that'd be like
that was the main one of the big reasons I was bummed he didn't do more of them.
Yeah,
was like I looked at his Pac-Man CEDX review yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Pac-Man fever has been effectively weaponized.
Yeah,
was like the tagline for that review. It's like, what else can you say?
It's out fucking standing. It's like that made you guys like a really powerful duo. I felt, because like Ryan had that flourish, and you were the best technical like writer and copy editor out of all of us by a long shot.
I'm a grammar spouting robot.
Yeah, you can fix the parts that are fucking stupid.
Right. That needs a hyphen.
There are plenty.
Alex, use more hyphens.
I'm working on it.
Alex makes your top sauce better.
Compound nouns.
Not working on that anymore.
No.
Like it was really fun to go through his reviews and look at the flamboyance that was there in some of that stuff. I remember there being something great in his Child of Eden review, but I can't figure out how to get to the review on this fucking website, Alexis.
I hate you so much.
I hit reviews. I hit reviews, and it just takes me to user reviews. I don't get it.
Well, you went to the reviews on the actual page.
Do I need to go to
Child of Eden first, and then
I'm on. We'll figure that out later.
Sure.
We've
got a real bad usability case here. If we can file this one, get this taken care of. The phone experience.
Put that on Jira.
Does the
something about
drop down tabs still pop over the videos on iPad?
Really, we're doing this now?
You know, the thing I liked most about Alexis.
Oh man, that's it. It was the deck on it. Child of Eden is Mizuguchi's most fully realized light-speed, bioluminescent cyberspace, technosynthetic neon air sculpture.
That's pretty dumb.
That it's also a video game seems beside the point.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, like the dumb.
Yeah, totally. You know, he embraced it better than any of us. It's like as I talk a good game, but
he wasn't even.
And
like
he brought you over that line. You talk about him. You got over that line, and every time I walked over to you guys' pit, you know, and he made you feel like you were the funniest guy. And like my humor just got super filthy whenever I walked over to you guys, and I think Patrick can attest to that. I mean,
you came over with your daggering videos. What do you expect, you creep?
And I blame Ryan, you know, or maybe just all of you guys. I think he brought us all, you know, he just brought us all over past that line.
Well, we got dirty. I mean, that's, you know, well, whatever. You know, like whatever. We were always dirty.
Yeah,
that was. To be sure, like it was, you know,
it's the kind of dirt you're born with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't come, you know. I grew up around auto mechanics. You know, Ryan grew up on farmlands, and you learn how to curse real well at some point. You do things like start a rap group and effectively, you know, take your cursing to the next level, and then you get dropped into this, you know, squeaky clean video game website for a good long time, and then when you come out the other end of that, you're like, well, what if we merged the two?
Yeah. What was his main rap name?
Oh, I know
you guys. You guys had like a dozen each.
DJ Roper.
Okay.
DJ Furley.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. There's
God.
Yeah. There's
Yeah, he never had an appreciation for things that was just like, how does this
sound you made right there.
I'm remembering that face he would make when it's just like, just that the pyramid hands on the nose, eyes wide open when he just saw something just astounding and just that. Oh my god! Oh my god! And then the mwah, 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 just when something was just so dumb, just like it would. It's just too much. It was just too much.
It wasn't even ironic. Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
No, I was just saying it sustained him. Whenever he saw something like just, you know, crucially dumb or idiotic, like it became sustenance for his soul. Like he needed it. He wanted more of it.
Just wanted to eat it. Just wanted to just absorb it into himself.
Yeah. I don't think it was even ironic most of the time. It was like a genuine appreciation for stupid shit that most people just walk past without a second glance. But he's always had the dumb radar.
Just it's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Look at those pigeons going at it over there.
I remember driving down the interstate in North Carolina with him and driving by the birthplace of Dale Earnhardt, and we had to go. Like
he went on vacation with you.
Yeah,
we went to your family vacation, and he went with you.
Would not leave that state without going to see the 9-foot-tall bronze statue of Dale Earnhardt.
Wow.
It was like one of the happiest days of his life. I remember that very well.
Like that might have been an ironic appreciation.
Maybe you're right. You might be right. He, in fact, was probably very earnest about Earnhardt.
That was, I mean, you know, to be fair, that was a simpler time when we were a lot more honest about the things we liked, and it wasn't this horrible era. I feel like we're coming out of it, where people can be genuine about the things they like again.
Sure. I just remember the Onion article. It was about like area man no longer able to feign interest in shit that he doesn't like or something like that.
Like I went through that exact phase big time of just like, you know what, no, it's whatever, and then I just started being genuine about the things I liked, and then that led to me listening to a lot of Britney Spears.
Here it is. Aging Gen Xer doesn't find bad movies funny anymore.
Yeah,
like perfect.
That's That's.
I mean, not to, like
that's where I
joke around about Cobra and shit, but Cobra's like a fucking
whatever.
Great
I
movie.
legitimately like Cobra.
It's really Cobra's amazing.
Like that's I'm not fucking around with people.
Yeah.
When I talk about Tokyo Drift, it's not like some like it's so cheesy. It's like no, I like when Ryan and I would talk about Torque. It's not some.
Go read Susan Sontag Notes on Camp, and you will have a better appreciation for like you can unironically enjoy something that is maybe not classy entertainment.
Yeah,
and I think he was really good at finding those gems out there. I'm probably not even talking to my mic anymore, am I?
Yeah, you are.
If only there was somebody here who could tell me how good I sound.
I mean, we can hear you.
Yeah, you have headphones on.
You can hear yourself, right?
They work. Right,
working headphones.
They are now. It's better.
Check.
This is just what it is to podcast with Matt Rory. Just so you know.
Oh, okay.
You're lucky I'm not burping all the way through this.
Yeah, you are bouncing.
He's bouncing up down that chair.
Yeah. Does this make it weird?
I don't know.
Sorry. I'll
no
stop.
I don't know.
Does make it a little weird.
One of the things I always really enjoyed about, I don't think I started using the word dumb until I started hanging around you guys and especially Ryan, because that was just his go-to word that kind of summarized so many things. And what I really appreciate about the fact that he could genuinely appreciate things that were dumb or stupid or just plain funny, but he was also really good at articulating what it is that was so appealing about them, as opposed to just like he would start with the word dumb and then find ways to explain to other people like why it is, and like Fast and Furious and stuff like that, or D-Box. Like he was able to find ways to explain the dumbness to other people in a way that I have certainly strived to try and do, but he was able to do with just effortlessly.
Yeah, it's because that kind of stuff was dumb without being stupid. Like there was like a nuanced, like knowing kind of dumbness to it.
And there was
but being stupid was awesome.
Like there was a real childlike quality to his enjoyment of some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, D-Box was just like, I'm going to go down to the fancy movie theater and sit in the shaky seats. Like that.
Because why wouldn't you see the movie in the seat that's like a roller coaster?
Yeah. Yeah, we went and saw Fast 5 in D-Box, and there's a scene where they pivot around. It's in Brazil, the statue, the Cristo, is that what they call it? I forget what they call it.
Statue. Cristo Redentor, yes.
Statue of that God guy or whatever.
Yeah, the Monte Cristo.
Yes, the statue of the Monte Cristo.
Yeah. Mount Christ. Got it.
And they panning around that, and the chairs pivot as if it is pivoting around with it.
Wow.
And I just wanted to grab him and say, "This is the best decision we've ever made." Because God, just imagine some man it's like you have to telescope that back and just envision the man in the room coding the D-Box to do that. And
I remember, didn't he get in touch with somebody who codes D-Box?
Yeah,
like
someone wrote into the podcast.
So
I think
jazzed about that.
Was talking about that stuff and.
He really was genuinely excited when like people who listen would write in and be like, I'm actually a part of what you guys were just talking about, and he was genuinely super interested and like
and I think shocked. I think we all are a little shocked. Oh man, you forget that people listen to this podcast.
Totally.
But he would always, it always seemed to me like, as somebody who's not very social, like I would get the email, I'd probably share it with you guys and be done. But he would like follow up and then like, be like, yeah, I'm going to meet this person. I'm going to this factory where they do this stuff. Like he's really good with people. Like a very like social's not really the right word. It was just I don't know. It was something I really admired.
Charisma or something. He had something
He's a
that people.
person.
It was effortless. Because when you say you're social, it feels like it's a learned talent or it's something that you have to try and do. Whereas, like whenever you read all these write-ups about people's impressions of Ryan or their interactions, like there's such a thread to them that it was not something he was doing. It was just how he was. And like I feel like Vinny, when you were saying earlier about how he wasn't just kind of – he had this real sort of like – it was funny that he was even alive. Like it was just everything was a big joke because holy shit, how did I get here? And that seemed to be his approach to everything, as opposed to sometimes it's like when you're around people, it's like, oh, I guess I have to be social. Like that just wasn't Ryan. Like if he wanted to be off, like he was off and he just left. He was one of those guys that just disappeared, like at bars and stuff like that.
Yeah, one of those fucking assholes.
Yeah, he was one of those guys.
Yeah, he would just ghost out of there. You just turn around and he's
like,
gone.
Where's that guy? Oh God,
just fucking.
I thought I was going to stay at his place.
Oh no, everybody.
This got bad.
It's like, wait, wasn't he driving? Fuck.
Yeah, you had to catch him just before he was about to go, and one time he was like, I gotta go. I gotta to the airplane. I gotta take the BART or something like that. And I was like, here's $60. You're going to take a cab. I'm going to buy you 2 more drinks. And you're
That's right. I remember that. That was the best.
Yeah, I know, because I just wanted him to stay so badly.
Just complete shock. Oh, that was great.
Yeah, but couldn't get enough Ryan.
Yeah.
Between all of us, how many times do you think we've all slept on a Ryan Davis couch?
I almost had to once.
I think I've slept in at least 2 of his different places. Once in San Francisco, and once when he was living with Jeff, your and our friend Scott, in Petaluma.
Oh yeah, I slept on his couch many times in the city because I was incapable of going home.
That's how he met Anna. She was living in the house behind that place, or next to that place.
In the Richmond.
No, in Petaluma. Petaluma.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I'd kind of known her through movie theater stuff. Like we were all kind of ended up. Through one way or another, getting wrapped up in / dating people in this kind of local movie theater circuit.
It's really where you go to meet
Totally. You want to meet ladies that know how to stay up late. You meet ladies that get off at midnight and then get off at 1. You know what I'm saying? You know, hit me right here. Hit me right here. What are you talking about? What? Yeah. Pound that out. I feel pretty good about that. Let's back that up. I'll fucking lay it out one more time. What?
Something about this was like the dirty site compared to what
I don't
you did
know.
before.
Yeah. So we ended up. It was really great for a good long time, and I think he ended up taking or getting more out of it, I think, than I ever did. Because at some point I was only going to these Thursday night employee screenings of brand new movies because the invite was there and it was the people or whatever, and I think at some point I just kind of that led to me burning out on movies overall to some extent. Whereas
tell me about it.
He just consumed that stuff just. Constantly,
it was novel for me because I never knew anybody that worked at the theater before, but like going up there with him when she would be working, like she would. It wasn't even employee screening where they're like testing the reel or whatever. She would set up. She would go to the trouble. That's about how much she loved him, I guess.
Yeah.
She would go to the trouble of building all those reels back up, just to
Running
screen movies for us
Yeah.
on some random night. Like we went up there and saw like Batman Begins and Transformers and all this stuff.
Oh, Batman Begins. I think I said something else. I actually have a question. Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
What did Ryan like to read? Like, did he read novels? Did he read books?
He's not a big. I don't think he was.
He read a lot of the internet.
Yeah, man. Damn it! I wish I
a lot of the AV Club.
Right,
that's fine.
A lot of the AV Club.
I'm just curious because
I used to play a game where I would turn over to him from my desk and I would mark down on my note program on my computer if he was reading the AV Club.
How many times wasn't he?
It's a really deep note chart.
Well, we'll turn that into HR for the performance improvement plan. He definitely did some reading, and I can't remember what now.
It's like nothing but Dragons of Pern or something.
Oh yeah,
David
I
remember
just loved it.
Yeah.
I remember him mentioning a fair amount of stuff he read as a kid and like a teenager.
Yeah,
I think you should
Elmore Leonard, he liked a lot of
Skype
that.
Dave.
yeah, a lot of Elmore Leonard, definitely.
Yeah, Dave would probably be.
Dave,
the
Dave would
about that
definitely be
stuff.
the one to know.
Like
Yeah,
I know he was really into Douglas Adams.
Yeah.
really? No shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like he was.
Oh, God.
He was dismayed and somewhat incensed that I'd never read Hitchhiker.
The best thing about all this last day
so am I.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
is that I have not seen a single person use the phrase "so long and thank you, fellow fish." I am so happy that every
thanks
time.
for ruining
Yeah,
it.
I know.
Good going.
Sorry.
Nice going on that.
Now guess what
great.
people are going to tweet at me for like the next 24 hours. I just say,
It's going to be a image of a MacBook Air with a picture that just says "So long, thanks all the fish" on the front of that laptop, and you're going to see that 1,000 times now. And then a dog, and the dog will be looking sad, and not even in a cute way. Just a sad dog.
oh,
No legs.
Hot legless dogs. That's Syphil and Ollie thing.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It was a great TV show. It was a great
Ryan
TV
liked
show.
it.
Yeah. We could speak, and out of that, then that kind of comes out of that as like all that movie theater stuff, and you spend a summer speaking exclusively in heat quotes, amongst a crew of about 5 or 6 people, when you're out taking cowboy scores and such. It was a lot like that. You definitely. A group of people consuming a lot of the same things, to getting the same things out of them, and then incessantly repeating those things to each other. But it was it ended up being actually nice because it was one of those things where we were seeing so much of it. It wasn't you could still feel good about getting angry about people that just talk about The Big Lebowski all the time because you operated on such a deeper level across so many multiple movies. You're just like,
that's amateur shit.
What is this fucking Jesus Christ, get out of here. It's a great movie, but fuck off. Of course it's a great movie. Of course you've seen it. Shut the fuck up.
No shit.
Though he did dress up as John Goodman from that movie for Halloween one year.
Christian Nutt reminded me of that yesterday because that party was
what a great goddamn
that was the best Halloween party I've ever been to
pictures.
in my life, and that was the best Walter Sobchak I have ever seen in my life, and he had a Camelback full of bourbon on him.
Oh my god!
I didn't go to that party, but I remember hearing about
it was
Camelback.
It was in that ridiculous huge house in the Mission that they had that some people we know still live in to this day.
Is that was the couch ever there?
The legendary couch.
Yes,
I don't believe that was ever.
Okay.
I don't think that thing would have survived that house.
Okay,
so probably not. But yeah, he was just like the spitting image. He had the attitude down.
Yep.
He could say the Shomer Shabbos line perfectly, and he was drinking whiskey out of a Camelback.
Nobody I know ever did the John Goodman bellow better than Ryan.
Yeah,
he could bellow like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like eventually I feel like we all kind of as you do, you grow out of that and kind of start doing your own thing instead of just repeating other stuff all the time.
Yeah, this,
and it was like we were, we talked about like after coming back from PAX and doing like our panel and the Cards Against Humanity panel, like there was this real element of just like we could probably do this, we could put on a fucking show and to some extent kind of fuck this video game stuff and go out and do something. We've been talking to a couple people, Max Temkin, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like maybe we could, there's a theater in Chicago, maybe we go get that and just give it a shot, try it out, see what happens, or I don't know. And we had kind of been talking about that, and then just everything here has just been so fucking crazy for so long that we never really revisited it. Sorry, Jesus Christ! God damn it!
Everyone really wanted that show to happen.
Yeah, me too.
I always wondered what his stand-up would be.
I think it's like he and I talked about it because at one point I kind of got it in my head that I was like, maybe I could, maybe I could put together something. And
8 minutes.
And he was very much just like, no, no, like you could do it like this, like we could figure this out.
You gotta love that brutal honesty of his.
Well, talking to him about comedy was always really fun. Because he had such a
Brian, his roommate, was a stand-up, and so he kind of rolled in,
and the officiant at his wedding.
That's right, yeah. And so he kind of rolled in some element of that scene for a little while.
Oh, that's right. I remember going with him and Anna to one of his roommate's shows when he was opening for Ron White.
Oh, that's right.
And then we got to go backstage and meet Ron White in his dressing room with like two 20-year-old girls.
Oh, weird.
And we were there for about 90 seconds, and then we realized we really needed to not be there.
Yeah. Jeez, Ron White.
A lot of good Ryan stories that I could tell.
But it was just like breaking down comedy was always fun.
He was a huge comedy nerd.
Yeah. Like the science of comedy, why something is funny, why something's not funny.
It was really helpful with, like those Game of the Year scripts and stuff like that, which, I mean, make no mistake, you wrote those. we sat there and occasionally lobbed up some dumb shit, but but
at some point it was just, what are you doing? Hey, where's Ryan? And it was like, I'm just punching this up.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, great,
exactly.
Go for it.
Yeah, he tightened that up real well.
Just putting funnier words in. This is a funnier word. Yeah. And like, it's true. Like he knew why, and it was like funnier. Fucking funny dude. Probably my favorite career thing in this industry was that Liverpool trip, and it was just it was a lot of just hanging out with Ryan. He was having such a blast, and like I've told the story before, but the night before we left, just going out with those dudes and stayed out all night and ran back to the hotel, past everybody waiting for the charter bus that was going to take us to the airport. Running upstairs
without having slept.
Yeah, running upstairs, and then 5 minutes later, running back down with our bags. I mean, all right, we're leaving, right? Let's go. Like 8 a.m. He had such a good time. He really enjoyed that trip, and I just he used to tell me stories about. I mean, probably told him here too about traveling when he was young.
Yeah, definitely. He got around.
He loved it.
He was one of those guys that did that. Like, I don't know how long it was, but one of those long Europe trips where he just bought a rail pass and traveled around Europe for a long time.
Yeah. That always just seemed so crazy to me. Like that, it was. It
knowing
always
him,
sounded so awesome. Yeah, knowing him, it didn't seem crazy that he was doing it.
Well,
but like, I don't think I could ever do that. And it just like the whole concept sounds so nuts to me, but like so alluring at the same time. I was always really impressed with that because he was like, I think he was like 19 or something when he went the first time. And it was just,
He would definally throw himself into that stuff. When
totally.
he came back to North Carolina with me for that 4th of July, we had about 3 days notice before the flight. We were sitting there like right before the break was about to start. And I just looked at flights and I was like, shit, these flights are like $250. And he was like, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah.
So like just booked flights and went.
Yeah.
With like no notice.
But he was so good at just like when we went to those places in Liverpool, just like he's one of the few people, and there are a couple, and he's one of the few people that I feel like when he sidles up to a bar, feels like he should be on the other side. Like he should be the dude who's like talking to you, having the bartender wants to talk to him kind of thing, and because I'm terrible at that. Just, give me a drink. I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm gonna sit here. You would talk to dudes and be like, what's your story? Where you're from? Somehow had some weird a piece of the knowledge that person knew, like had some point of interest to relate to, and would just talk to those guys. And I'm sure the guys when we went on that Blur trip, I mean, you guys know hanging out with Ryan, the circle forms around him kind of, and it's kind of just was great to just be able to watch that happen and not have the pressure of having to I don't maintain a conversation here. And watch that form. That was a really, really fun trip.
He could just kind of mold himself into any environment that he wanted to. I mean, as long as he felt like he was in a good mood and social, like he could ingratiate himself to just about anybody, anywhere.
High society, low society.
Oh my God! I remember when we got there on that trip that we took together. We took a red eye overnight with a stop in Texas, so we're talking like not only up all night, but it's like a 9-hour trip or something.
Yeah.
We still got the rental car, and the first thing he wanted to do was go to a Waffle House because he'd never been to a Waffle House before.
Man, I've still never been to a Waffle House.
And he got steak and eggs, and he was so excited about being in a restaurant you could smoke in that he sat there halfway through the meal smoking a cigarette over top of the steak and eggs.
I guess I remember as a kid, like you could smoke in places in California. Maybe the age difference is just enough to where he didn't have that.
Yeah.
Some places you can still get away with it, but it's kind of, they close the doors, no cops around kind of thing.
That was the thing, though. Like, he loved, like, really good bourbon and stuff like that, but he also liked to slum it.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, he and I drank a lot of bad malt liquor.
Right.
Like that's...
Oh, yeah.
Like, I never wanted anything to do with no bourbon.
You're missing out.
Let's have some 40s and Mickeys, and then I'll tell you about not missing out.
I think I had my first good bourbon ever because of him. I think it was at some point when we was living in Petaluma at that one place with Scott, and I'd had it, but I'd never had someone grab me by the shoulders and say, "No, you're drinking this wrong," and like pour me I think it might have been a bottle of Eagle Rare or whatever his favorite stuff was, and it was just like, "Here, one piece of ice, go," and made me drink it in front of him so that he could know that I had at least done it right once. And I appreciated that because I actually enjoyed bourbon after. I never liked it before that.
He never tried with me. I think he knew better. I think he knew that it was never going to work.
Yeah, he was always really big on that one thing.
He commented very specifically to me one time about that.
Yeah.
When I said something to him about like wanting to change your taste in something, like I forget what he said, but it was he painted it as an exercise in futility.
Yeah. Nah.
I always liked that he would order his bourbon and his drink at the same time and just get them both. Get his bourbon with one ice and a beer.
Yep. Oh yeah, he was real big on the opening double fist.
Yep.
That was his opener.
There was a one happy hour where he was sitting down. He's like, "Hey, could you fill up this entire thermos with bourbon and just put one piece of ice?" And I was like, the whole thing. I don't know how many ounces in that thing, but
that's ridiculous.
And I was like,
it's
and I got it because I really liked bourbon, and that was an easy like transition for me to make with it. Where I was like, man, this guy's a truck, man. It's just like he can take it down.
Yeah. He would often do the double fist through 2 or 3 rounds, not just the first one.
Oh, God,
sure.
I stop for a second, and like I do not think I've ever worked with him when he's not like a drunk at work.
No.
He's
not at all.
It's not like he was running around with flasks and just sipping, getting a nip here and there right before everything. Like I think he enjoyed.
All right, Papa's ready.
Once 6 o'clock rolled around, all bets were fucking off at that point.
Or
But
even
at work,
I'll go as far as he enjoyed a drink during a show or something like that. But like
that was the environment that we ran.
Yeah,
it was called whiskey media. People, I mean, come on,
Fuck, right?
I don't
We
think
had a bar in the office.
I don't think there was ever a point where I was like, going to you being like, I think Ryan's a little too drunk for this quick look.
My big dick and I'm ready to fuck.
I don't know what to do. He's in the room just spouting obscenities at Dragon's Dogma.
Oh my god.
He was pretty smart about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They need to ask for a hand massage, which was always kind of weird. Alexis, go get me a drink, and my hands are. Can you massage my hand?
But he was pretty smart about it. It never got too weird.
After hours,
but nothing was ever weird. Nothing was ever weird, And he was just such a big, affectionate teddy bear kind of guy, and just like he made it not feel weird that he enjoyed shoulder rubs, It's just like I'm like, why am I massaging this big man now? And why do I not feel weird about it?
Too, though. I mean, he would give the occasional unrequested back rub.
Oh yeah, and that man gave just great hugs, and part of it just was his stature, the fact that he could just completely envelope you, just you disappear within those arms, but he has such conviction in those hugs. And I always really super appreciated those for sure.
That was the last that I saw him was when we went to come pick up that arcade machine from my place with Vinny, and we were moving an arcade machine, so in this case, like him being horribly sweaty was completely understandable, and he was just drenched, but I knew this was the last time I was going to see him, so it was like, well, give me a hug. It's like no hugs. And I was like, well, I'm going to give you one anyway. And just like, because with him, like, you just wanted to. He was just that kind of guy.
That sweat was something else, man. That last party about a year ago.
After the
watermelon incident.
Oh, yeah. Which we should not elucidate on, just call it the watermelon incident and leave it to people's imaginations.
It's the Calvin and Hobbes noodle incident. Yeah, that's all it is. And he's just drenched in sweat, like just so
It was
bad.
hot.
It was really hot. It was hot as
really
balls. Hot. It was, and he comes up to me and he just puts his face right into my t-shirt.
Like pressed his face right in there.
Pressed it right up in there.
He had like
just,
a Ryan face print.
He's marked you at that point. You're his territory now.
7 days later.
Shroud of Turin.
That's exactly, because he pulled away and I was like, there's your eye sockets, like there's your note, like it was his face
smiling.
Yeah. And it was like a tannish colored t-shirt, so the sweat was just the contrast on it was just, oh god, gross. And then at his wedding, I remember after he gave me that big kiss, he puts his forehead right up into me and he's just like, I love you, man. And I go, I love your sweat. And that was it.
Why you got I love you. He came up to me, poured a bottle of water. Like he came up for a hug. I'm like, cool, yeah, great, hug me. And he holds me with one arm, bottle of water with the other one, and then he says, Matthew Rory, you are a human piece of shit. As loud as he could. The entire I wasn't even mad.
Drake and I caught that. I was talking to Drake like from inside the house looking out. And whatever, we're complaining about video games like you do. And We're just watching this fucking thing. It's like, oh, it's like a tender moment. Like, look at that. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, of course.
I'm trying to pull away. He holds me harder.
You're trying to start to struggle.
It was cold.
And as soon as the water, I think it's like, I got like a quarter way through the bottle. I think you just accepted it. And said, well, this is happening.
Yep.
And then Matthew Rory, you're a human piece of shit. Like, whoa.
Oh God! I was trying to pull up the picture that I took of you during that moment.
I think I have it. It's me and Yolanda or something. Yeah, Steph got the action shot.
Yeah,
and I think you got the aftermath.
Oh right, I got the aftermath. You were looking. Really
I was
hot.
happy. It was just like, hey, he made you feel loved in odd ways sometimes, but you always felt like you knew where that dude stood. If you were not in good standing with Ryan Davis, he would let you know. And even theoretically, other people, if other people call me a human piece of shit, I'd probably take offense. But I knew he didn't mean it like that. I sound like an abused wife.
Yeah, it's like a lot of these stories. It's like, and then he hit me. Told me I was garbage.
Hit me right in the face.
I love that guy.
I love that guy. He threatened to shit on my life.
I feel like
you just don't know him.
Yeah, you still know him like I do.
I feel like he just cut you out. Like I feel like when he was really just did not want to deal with you, he just didn't talk to you. You were just cut out. And like I feel like there are a few people I've seen that were just not entertaining him anymore.
Yeah,
it's just like this is just not even fun to tease you anymore.
I definitely had to earn that respect. If you didn't have that, he didn't have much time for you.
Yeah, and like and like in some ways, like the teasing. Like I feel I've read a lot of stuff about Ryan's teasing and being teased by Ryan. We talked a lot about it, but like I do feel like there are a couple of times like stuff would go too far, and I feel like for me personally, it's almost like you flick him on the nose, right, and it'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like all you had to do was let him know that, like, I mean, if he actually liked you. That like, hey man, that was maybe a little too far.
Yeah,
and he'd be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I'm an asshole. I'm sorry. And like, dude knew how to take an apology, knew how to give an apology, and I think that's part of why I think everything I read and what we're talking about is why you could love him, because like it never got in the way. I don't know. It just never felt like. Oh, fucking asshole called me a human piece of garbage.
He hit me so hard my glasses flew behind the bar. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
I feel like I share something special with you now, Brad.
Apparently, it's not a very exclusive club. I thought it was special.
Like, I haven't been in a fight in years, and I was just the stars I saw at the wedding. I was just like, Jesus Christ. I love you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At least that wedding was, but again, it was last time I saw him, and he was just fucking deliriously happy.
Oh, that's because it was 125 degrees. He was just delirious.
We all were.
Yeah, it was just.
Oh God, that ceremony!
Hydrate.
I was just sitting there at the ceremony, and like the sun was just beating down. Like I had not moved in like 10 minutes, and I was still just sweating profusely. I mean, I can sweat when it comes time to do it too.
When asked to sweat.
When asked to sweat. And then we had to go back out there for the dinner. I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can take it. But that's why he poured water on me. Just show me love.
Just helping you out.
Yeah, looking out for you.
Aiding my natural cooling abilities.
Yeah, we had to, before the ceremony started, had to just like, okay, no one lock your knees. Just don't lock your knees up there because it's so fucking hot. Like it was 104 degrees or something when we were.
That would have been a prime candidate for something like you ever see those old America's Funniest Home Videos where somebody just falls over.
Exactly. Yeah. You lock your knees, your circulation goes, whatever. You just, something happens, you end up passing out or whatever it is.
I think Drew and I were running
marching band trick.
Drew and I were running a little late, and I get a text from Dave. Right. From Dave, it just says it's raining on the mountain, and we're trying to
we spent like 10 minutes trying to figure out what that meant.
Figuring it out, and I was like, "Oh, what? Is somebody crying?" And then he just 2 words later, just Ryan sweats.
Yep.
And you guys must have been sitting out there for a while because we drove up right before Anna.
Yeah, we got there maybe 60 seconds
I got
before
used to it at some point. Like, it was just,
you're like, oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
Didn't he have backup shirts at the wedding?
Bought three shirts.
Bought 3 shirts.
3 identical shirts.
Went through them.
Yeah.
That's just smart.
Yeah. exactly. It's just knowing yourself.
Oh, let's sell those on eBay.
So we are looking to put together a T-shirt for sale.
I've actually been emailing during this podcast, trying to get it all set up.
Incredibly disrespectful, Matt.
Yes, it'll be.
Yeah, we're looking. That'll be a benefit to his wife. So look for details on that to come. And
just gonna be a print, Alexis, of what he left behind in your shirt.
Shroud of Ryan. We do have an idea. We have an idea already.
Yeah. Something in motion. So, well,
this weekend sucks shit.
This weekend was a bad weekend.
It was the worst. It's the worst 4-day weekend of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
I heard on Wednesday you guys were all gone. I was still here, and yeah.
Yeah, the worst part is not being able to tell anybody and like worrying that it would be something that we couldn't.
It's weird. I mean,
yeah, that Wednesday night was.
I think everyone needed private time with this stuff before kind of getting it out there. It's just I don't know what at some point someone will write the book on like grieving in the modern era of social media and all this other it's like so many weird circumstances and just like all this stuff.
But it seemed like the most important thing was respecting the wishes
absolutely
of family.
Deference to Anna and the family more than anything. It
seemed overly cautious. It's because like you said, like in this modern era,
it was the right amount of caution for me. I don't think I would have been prepared to say anything prior to Monday. Like
it did leave you in a weird limbo though, where none of us were in the situations where we saw him all the time. It's like there was like 4 days where
that
it's
long
like
weekend was
like not coming back to the office. It was just the timing of it. It's like you're not getting. You were back in the office. You weren't anywhere where you would have seen him necessarily. So it was easy for your rational mind to reject the notion that it had even happened.
Well, next time we'll see if we can get him to die on a Wednesday or something.
Just like there was.
Wait, it was a Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday. Yes.
Yeah, I mean
you should do better next time.
That Thursday barbecue was probably the most important point.
I
think a lot of us just to all get together at Dave's place.
I woke up the next day wanting to do that whole thing again because I didn't know what else to do with myself.
I think I got a text from you like the next day, like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Like,
what
now? Like, I think we met up again that day. Just being around like friends is just like super important, and just like I meant like the world. All weekend long, pretty much.
Like you mentioned, like Jeff mentioned something about pacing around in your house, and like it sounds like such a cliche, but it was literally just like holding your hands and walking back and forth from room to room, like just going, like what?
I kept trying to read stuff, and I was like, I'd skip the next page, and I realized I'd entirely forgotten. Even today, I was trying to write up like my fucking half year review, and I've been here 2 months, and I'm just like trying to write like. What are the 3 things your manager can do to help you out more? Like, I'm just sitting there, like, looking at it, like, what? I can't even do this.
I forgot about those. Oh, yeah.
I was just going to forward over the last ones we did and say, it's like this still.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. I headed up on Wednesday night up to Dave's and I saw you, Jeff, and then it actually taught me a lot about my bug out bag. Of like, all right, if I had to because it was basically I was coming back. I had come to the office after hours to come pick up some stuff and found out on the way there, and so was heading back to home. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna head up. I'm gonna hit home for like 5 minutes. And we're gonna split, and then we're gonna head up. And like, I totally can't do this. Like, I have to pack a bag. I've got to. Now I have 48 hours of clothes packed in a bag with a toothbrush and deodorant, and I am that much more secure now. Thank you, Ryan, for imparting how important it is to just like I don't need any of this. I don't need a camp stove. I need underwear and socks. Like,
but how great would it have been if you just rolled in with a camp stove? So like, I'm fucking ready. Got this K-bar, this camp stove. Bring it on.
Ran out of underwear a day ago.
Well, now that we've broken the amazing podcast equipment again.
Yeah, the podcast just crapped out. You didn't miss much. in true podcast fashion.
Well, all of us
talking about
going,
eating underwear.
Do we need to do this again?
I know. That's the worst.
Which was like pretty much yesterday. Breaking the news a second time, and you already know the news, you know it's coming, and Ben did a pretty good job telling the GameSpot people, and just I thought I'd be prepared for it, and it just clearly wasn't.
It was so weird having to think of technical things, like spinning up extra servers and making sure our site doesn't break like it does every goddamn time.
It was fuck, man. I mean, I started feeling anxious Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
I was just all weekend I wanted to get to Monday because I was going crazy at home. But at that point, I was just I'm not ready for tomorrow. It's
seeing the amazing things people started tweeting, and today has been do not endorse graffiti of rest in peace. I don't know if you guys saw this, but yeah, somebody has tagged up the side of a building.
Yeah.
We do not endorse that. Maybe please be respectful.
Maybe you don't.
but we kind of do.
Somebody got a sign on last night's Monday Night Raw.
Oh wow!
What? Yes.
Wow!
Show you guys.
That's way better than the Reuters story that I found.
Yeah, I know there was someone with
That's from last night.
Oh, that's fucking that's good. I wonder if it's the same guy. I saw Dan Reichert talking about someone with some Game Informer signs at the show too.
That is
we endorse that.
That Taswell thing. Some people have asked, what is it? It's not his middle name.
It's his grandfather's name.
It's
something like that.
It's his. They. I think when they were naming him originally, they wanted to give him some family name, like his grandfather's name, and they knew it was CT something. And they thought it was Thomas, and then they had filled out the form, and then realized no, it was actually Taswell. So
turns out it was not.
Turns out it was right.
Really weird time.
Really weird. But so he kind of just took a liking to that as a weird ass old timey name, and used it where appropriate.
Again, going back. The amazing Taswell, born out of a vaudevillian trunk.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Just big curly mustache and top hat.
I'm telling you, man, that image of him in top hat and stripy suit with the tails.
Or just selling elixirs.
Yes.
Running a real medicine show.
Snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
Get out of town quick after the...
I don't give this price to everybody. You're gonna love it. I call this the D-box seat.
What was it Dave said in that write-up he did? It was like hopping around like a con man celebrating his final score. That's pretty good.
That's
pretty accurate.
That's how the wedding felt.
Oh, God. It was a nice wedding.
Yeah, it was.
It was weird, too. It was weird, like Anna's dress became like a bug trap in the middle of it.
Really?
Did you see that?
No.
Oh, man. It was so weird to look, but holy shit! Yeah, I like how his cocktail was just bourbon with that thing.
Yeah, they did a custom cocktail or whatever.
It was a custom cocktail.
It was called the Disney Shipwreck, right?
It was I think it was
Shipwreck on the Rocks.
Shipwreck on the Rocks, and it was just like mint and I think cherries, and I saw them refilling it, and they were just bourbon.
Dumping a bottle of Makers in there.
I think what happened was that the initial batch was an actual cocktail. And then when the batch was gone, it was just bourbon. Ice, mint, and ice. And the lady was just like, well, I don't really have the ingredients, but I've got Makers. And she just kind of started dumping it in. And, we just basically just tasting flavored whiskey. And I think, 6 or 7.
I had a little bit of that, and I thought it was all right.
Yes, it was good.
Yeah.
Dangerously good,
Oh, best wedding ribs I've ever had in my life.
Those were good
ribs.
Ribs. Had a couple servings. Yeah. Good food, overall. I'd do that wedding again. I'd eat at that wedding again if I had to.
All right. See if we can set it up.
Oh, God.
Cornbread, the whole thing.
Weird Star Trek episode.
It was the honey butter on that cornbread.
Oh, yeah.
That was real good.
And then they ran out of cornbread, and I was just mad.
Just eating honey butter.
Okay, I'm glad at least that they ran out of it, because there was a moment where I was like, I should go up and get more of that. And I was like, nah, it's I probably shouldn't, because if I just went up there and ate, I would eat a lot more of this food than I should.
It's not good weather to be overeating in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've never seen you overindulge in eating,
Never. No, I don't know. It's not like I'm trying to eat a fucking 100 chicken nuggets.
Oh man.
So what do you say? You gonna get it done? You gonna give it another shot?
Sure.
I mean, he
would have to.
He would have wanted it that way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's right. How long can we spend justifying like the most ridiculous shit? It's really what Ryan would have wanted.
Ryan would have wanted.
Yeah. We got to find another toilet, another cake.
He put down an impressive amount of meat at that Brazilian steak place.
Oh, he did.
For his bachelor
Lord.
party.
Oh my God, that was almost. We were all like, so I don't know. You can tell the story if you want to. Espetis here in NSF, and it's an all-you-can-eat place, and they'll bring around like
Swords of meat,
and you have a little green red thing. Like if red means do not bring me any more meat.
It's a churrascaria.
He might as well have super glued that thing to the green. He was still sitting there eating when all of us had been like gotten up and staggered outside. Like I need air. I need to walk outside right now. Nope. He was getting his goddamn money's worth.
Yeah, he was.
The man knew what he liked, and then he went out and got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
He's like a Hemingway hero.
I try to live my life like that now. Like, in a lot of ways, Ryan was sort of inspiring because, he didn't see barriers. He was just like, I want that. And he went and got it.
I just admired his decisiveness in things as mundane as like ordering a drink or food or something. It's like I never saw him and haw over any menu or something like that. It's just like he knew exactly what he wanted and he just did it.
It's a man of action.
The only time
the man wants a French dip. Safe bet.
Yeah.
The only time that we ever kind of went back and forth on two decisions were the Whiskey Media Happy Hour promo slot images, because those are usually food-based, right? Mm-hmm. And it would be like a 3-hour-long ordeal of me IMing him back and forth. Hey, you like waffles? Is waffles okay today? Well, I don't know. How about funnel cake?
Come on, man. You wouldn't eat waffles during happy hour?
But it didn't matter,
He was right to second-guess you.
No, it was him going back and forth on it. It was that. And also the his custom New Balance shoes. The ones that say baller
right.
time
That's
on
right.
them.
You designed those, right?
What was us sort of. Because we spent like 2 weeks going back and forth, like going through all these colors, and I was like, well, I thought about this because of that, and he was like, man, these are almost there. These are they're like purple and yellow, and like they're awesome. And then he went to order them, and they came out white and blue, and I was like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. Baller time happened. I don't know if he just decided to just write baller time and then just like everything else just made itself,
Yeah.
So I still think I have the order sheet for his other custom New Balances that we spent just many go back and forths on. But those are the only times that I ever saw him, without that conviction right away, right? So
important shit.
Yeah.
It's those Super Bowl moments, you worried about.
You got to sweat the details on this stuff. It's the stuff that makes or breaks tonally the important things about a life.
New Balance.
So we're proud to announce new sponsor.
Yeah, even if
I really, and if I had the motivation to actually do any work right now, I really wanted to have a third color scheme on Giant Bomb that was just going to be all of his New Balance sneakers, but like the amount of work to randomize that, because he had so many. I mean, I have pictures of all his shoes, and he's got every color scheme imaginable, and I was like, how do I pick one? Or how do I make it so that when you press the New Balance button every time you load the site up, you get a different color, or a different shoe?
It's a great marketing opportunity.
It is. Somebody should sponsor the site.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, not wrong. Yeah. So. Mm-hmm.
Yep, the man could be confident even when wearing shoes that said baller time on them.
Yeah.
Because he believed
confident
it
all the time.
That's right. He believed it so hard that you eventually believed it. You're like, no, that's all right. That is a good idea.
This is a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, but it's arcade machine. This is probably a good idea.
Right.
He finally learned how he had finally mastered moving arcade machines. Just could do it in a man.
That's like one step before getting a warehouse.
Yep. He we found out that Patrick that Neo Geo machine fit in the back of his car, and that's pretty much all we needed, right? That guy could have been moving arcade machines back and forth at that point.
Just to random places, just to be doing it.
Set him up in a laundromat. Don't tell anybody.
Everyone's got a backup.
Yeah.
Plan B, Ryan Davis. Vaudevillian arcade machine mover.
His Baller Time arcade.
It's a good name for an arcade.
That is a pretty good name for an arcade.
Good. I like it. Oh, looks good.
I'm approving shirt designs over here.
Well, we do have 2 options as well. He mocked up that one too.
Yeah. I think that's the one.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. This one.
I mean, you didn't show me any other ones,
No,
so I don't have anything to compare it to.
There are 2.
There's a subtle difference in punctuation,
okay.
which makes all the difference.
You're right.
The other one is bad.
Yeah, that's the one you want.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. We will hopefully get this set up by the end of the week. I don't know what the time frame is on this kind of stuff, but we will hopefully. The people at Social Imprints
wheels
too.
in motion.
I was talking to the guy at Social Imprints, and Kevin just kind of went on for a bit. He was like, "Yeah, I met him a couple times. He apparently came out to. You guys went out to concerts of his back in the day.
Yeah. He was in a band kind of around the time that I was around that whole thing, and yeah,
and a lot of Ryan stuff for the last God only knows. I don't even know how long he's been doing the support stuff, but." I was like, I still had people emailing me last night, just like sending it back to the sport because they always got it from Ryan and they thought it was still
right,
like,
yeah.
I don't know where they thought they were sending it to, but it was kind of it was interesting to go back and see all the stuff that he sent to people. So, we get a lot of not weird, but like one-off problems that we have and Ryan was always super polite and cool and tried to take care of everything personally as best he could. So it's fun to see.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Think we can bronze that chair?
You might have to ask facilities about that.
Oh God,
no.
With the ergo guy in here, and he's only in on Tuesdays.
I always loved that Ryan, the ergo guy came in and got him that super fancy ass like Aero chair, and then he was like, "No, fuck that." And he I think he gave it to David, and now he was sitting in like the shittiest chair with no gas.
Oh, that chair's better. That chair's better than I think of any of ours, though.
Yeah,
I'm eyeing it. What? Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I was gonna, have something, real meaningful, profound here, but I ain't got it. So.
I think he would just berate you if you tried at this point.
I guess.
Condolences to his wife and his family.
His family, absolutely.
It's an impossible thing to deal with, and
yeah,
don't even want to imagine how you do. So, and like Matt was saying, the stuff that's been coming out has been amazing. The community support, and we all knew Ryan touched a lot of people, maybe inappropriately.
Yeah,
right.
But boy, oh boy,
yeah, a lot of that stuff was really touching yesterday. I think the tributes, like when the Harmonix guys did that first stream,
yeah, that was great.
That was really great.
I mean, going through there was one thread on the forums was just like pick your favorite Ryan moment, and like that actually. Going through those 10 or 20 pages of all that stuff, because sometimes the community remembers the stuff that we forget about, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think once they started that forum, I think was when we decided fuck it, let's just fill up all those promo slots with just Ryan shit. Like, who cares about anything else that's on Giant Bomb right now? It's just front page is just all Ryan, and that's
just like you wanted.
Yeah.
You guys change any of those promos at all? I don't know.
I swapped out a bunch of them earlier.
Yeah.
And we stacked them pretty deep, so
cool.
keep clicking in there.
So if people don't know how the promo system works, if you click on it, it goes away, and the next thing
in the back of the queue
goes to the back of the queue. So if you want to get to it,
no idea how that's on on every site. It just makes so much sense.
It's awesome.
I know.
It's great. It's true.
Dave was the mastermind behind that. It was really good.
Smart fucking shit.
Yeah. These sites when they're available, they're pretty great.
Yeah.
Not talking aversions. Like, we've had some weird times the last couple months that nobody could foresee coming, but yeah.
Well, traffic on that story blew away that Xbox DRM thing.
I know. The Xbox.
Get back to work.
Get back to work, Patrick.
I was looking at
the last cosmic joke.
Yeah.
Scooped.
I know. It was so weird. Like, I don't know. I wrote that on Wednesday night, thinking that somebody was going to leak that like right away. We'd have to have some kind of response. I put it together and like I wrote one thing. You were talking about having something profound. I was writing the stupidest bullshit. Like, he'll leave a footprint on our lives forever, and it's like flowers in heaven.
I just looked at it. I was like, yeah, shit looks good.
Yeah, we ran it with like basically no real changes.
Yeah.
Oh, putting that story together yesterday was the.
I remember you being like, "Do you want to look at it?" No. I
fucking had to sit there and crop that image to go in it, and I just like had to stop at some point because my hands were shaking. It's just like it was like what you were saying about having to think about technical details around this.
It kind of
horribly
helps.
Personal event.
It kind of helps to go through like I had the good fortune of having the support queue over the weekend, like people needing password resets and stuff, like just so I could like not think about anything else. It's like, yes, I can do that. I can take care of that for you right now. Here's your password reset. Please go through that stuff. It helps. It did help to be at work on Monday for me. Just trying to, just having that shit to do.
I wanted that stuff to get over so quick. I was in the office at like 7:45, and I'm like, "What am I doing here?"
I was just talking to you on AIM because I'm 2 hours forward.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
I was like, "Okay, I guess I came into work to talk to Patrick." It actually felt really good, And then it kind of sucked when people started coming over to my desk, and they want to talk about work stuff, and I'm just like,
they don't know yet.
Oh God, there was just one conversation. It's like, "How was your weekend?" And I was like, "Eh." Could have been better. And I just like at one point I was like, "You really need to go talk to your manager." I need an adult. Like I couldn't talk. I couldn't finish the conversation anymore.
Especially 4th of July when fireworks are going off everywhere and like people are rioting on the streets and shit like that. And I just want to drink, man. Do not ask me anything.
But that harmonic stream was great.
That was really
it was real.
Back to the point.
It was a real turning point for my day yesterday when watching that and being really confused and shocked and kind of, I feel like probably all of us you just don't know how to handle this stuff.
I think that was the point. I think where I felt like, okay, maybe we could actually get in this studio and do this now.
Yeah.
And thank you so much to you guys. And it reminded me that it's okay to laugh at this stuff when dude was a really funny guy and some of that stuff, and then I was able to sit down and start watching some of the stuff we were going through.
Yeah, that and the Thanks Ryan Twitch was really good too. I don't know who did that, but it was just somebody playing YouTube clips from stuff and over summer jams over YouTube clips of Ryan Davis, which is weird, but a lot of people hopped in there and had some good chat on Twitch.
Not only was a really funny guy, but just hated solemnity, he was always the first one there with a too soon joke or just making light of something that really shouldn't be joked about.
I had a comedian for his officiant at his wedding, so.
And that's kind of, I said it to you guys before, but the kind of real shame is that he would have known how to handle this the best, and would have known how to handle a death of Ryan Davis the best way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I wish I can get a cue to be like, it's too soon.
It's too much.
Funny. And there's definitely stuff, like I was talking to Jeff before, of stuff that's like, this only he would find this funny, and so I can't actually say this or do this. But man, he would fucking crack up if it happened right now.
That's definitely.
Well, I think
It was definitely like a couple of cases where, having had more days to kind of think about it and process it not that whatever, but. I definitely had reached a point sooner than some other people about like how dark I could get, and there's definitely a couple of cases where I was like, all right, yeah, you're right. That's too dark for you.
I was a little shocked at how far you were willing to go on a couple of things.
Yeah,
but then you had the sense to pull back.
I
guess I don't know. I guess it affects everybody differently, but I didn't feel like I could really start processing it until yesterday. Once it was out there.
I mean, that was like for I mean, I don't know how Alex felt, but I think like, given that we were away, like it's where I am at, nobody knows really. I mean, people kind of know that I write about video games, that no one knows what Giant Bomb is. No one knows who Ryan was. So in some ways it was kind of a refreshing escape because, I would kind of tell people like, oh, a friend of mine passed away, but it wasn't endless discussion and like telling stories. And so that's what made Monday so powerful, was because I kind of got to just bury it. And I was, kind of dealing with my own stuff. July 3rd is now a pretty horrible day in Patrick Klepek's history book, which is why when Vinny called me, telling me, I was half convinced, although I could not imagine Vinny doing it, that everyone was just drunk and pulling a horrible joke, because I was standing on the driveway where, if we had flashed forward 45 minutes from when I was talking to Vinny, I was pulling up for my dad's own passing, and I was just like, "This is fuck you, Ryan. God damn it."
Yeah.
But that's what made Monday so powerful, was just then all of a sudden, oh wait, like this did happen, and then because I remember even when I was informing people, like on Sunday night, just trying to give people I thought would deserved a heads up, again, like in this weird age of social media, like people just seeing a tweet, learning about it. It's like I thought I was, even though I knew I knew it was Ryan. Like sometimes I felt like maybe I got confused. Maybe it was someone else that died. Like I don't want to be telling people the wrong information because, oh my God, that would be horrible. But, it's just because there was such a heavy weight around it that in some ways Monday was a relief, just to kind of get it out there and see sort of the impact he had on other people. Because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes like the job we do, like we talk about video games, we write about video games. Like sometimes I have weird existential crises of like am I I'm not really making anything. Like what sort of impact am I really having? and I haven't had, Ryan had a bigger impact than most, but to see the way people responded was, I don't know, like in a weird way, it was like I found that part of it to be really amazing and validating for not only what you guys have created before I became a part of it, but just sort of what we do in general. That I don't know, like it was weird for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, but surprisingly, like I think we only had one real asshole on the site all day yesterday. There was one dude we had to ban, but apart from that, it was just nothing but super respectful. Yeah. Speaking of what Ryan would have found hilarious, I have been laughing at this for like the last 10 minutes.
I can't fucking believe this. I cannot fucking believe this.
This is HollywoodLife.com. Ryan Davis, video game personality, dead at 34. Above, her beauty must have Miley Cyrus, her fave lip balm revealed. I shit you not. This would have been cracking him up. So bad. Right next to Kanye.
This is
heartbreaking news.
Oh, God.
How they snuck Baby North into July 4th party.
Oh my! I've been trying not to. I've been looking at this for like 5-10 minutes now. I'm just trying not to laugh my ass off, crack up at the most solemn recollections.
The photos they picked for the actual story, like for the Ryan Davis gallery, are fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, the pictures of him there are priceless.
Oh God, I didn't even click through. Oh man!
Somebody take a screenshot of that.
I took. Oh God, it's one of his sleep study pictures with the electrodes all over his face. God.
Oh God! Wow! Jesus! Thank you, HollywoodLife.com. that is a tribute the man would have wanted most.
He fucking made it, man. He fucking made it. God
He
damn.
could be cackling right now.
Forget trending on Twitter. Forget a Reuters write up.
This is so absurd.
This is the true metric of success.
shot of him barefoot fucking hitting the gong is in there.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Somebody, I don't know who wrote this. Somebody cared
Someone
enough.
went to his Facebook, apparently.
Oh, man.
Weird. The world is fucking weird. It's been weird for a while, but it's not until you really see this type of juxtaposition you're like, what the fuck happened? Like, what is the internet
like
now?
Something this extreme really kind of stretches the elastic boundaries of reality, and then they just snap back at you.
Oh, God.
Just
Yeah.
For a dude who loved the Twilight Zone, this whole last day feels like one of the weirdest Twilight Zone episodes.
Yeah, man,
and this is like the capping on everything. Oh, man.
I don't know how long it's going to be before I can look at stuff like that and not think about that. like Twilight Zone is in the Entertainment Weekly top 100 TV show list that just came out, and I see stuff like that. It's just like, fuck, he loved Twilight Zone.
like I said,
He loved this, he loved that. It's just...
I said before the show, my hope was that he was somewhere in the nether realm fighting the good fight for us, and we're all alive because of him.
Yeah, kind of.
Fighting Freddy Krueger. I think was he'd won his battle.
Yeah, but
Dream Warrior.
it's the shitty new Freddy Krueger thing. So.
Yeah.
These are the stupid conversations that happen.
Yeah, he changed. I know he changed my life, and that's gonna change my son's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would have been a very interesting father, I think. I have no idea, I have no idea how to think of Ryan as a father.
That kid would have been entertained as hell.
Would have been
He
barefoot.
would never be bored.
It's gonna be really hard.
Yeah, it is. It's fuck website shit. I mean, that's obviously crazy, but everything for a while, it's. They keep saying, they say like, oh, time will pass, and eventually work through the grieving and all this stuff, and I don't fucking buy it right now. I don't know. I feel better, then I feel worse, then I feel better, then I feel worse. I guess that's supposed to be actually how it works, but we'll keep doing what makes sense when we can do it. But until then, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And then, just a big thank you to Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
And we'll miss you. And
now let's go to emails.
let's talk lip balm.
I'm so glad you cut that moment, Jesus.
Yeah. Thanks everybody, and I guess we'll be back, like Jeff said, when we're ready. Yeah. In the meantime, go enjoy everything that was Ryan. There's a whole site out there.
I think somebody on Twitter said it better. Just hug your friends.
Yeah. And stick your face in their shirt. Or pour a bottle of water on his head, or slap him in the face.
Call him human pieces of shit. Do it, and don't even explain it. Just
yeah.
I love you, you human piece of shit.
Yeah, and go have a good laugh.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be back.